Is Workhorse Group stock a buy, sell, or hold? I'm going to answer that question in this video, looking at its revenue, its cash flow, its profit margin, and its valuation. So let's get started with revenue for this battery electric truck manufacturer, designer, and seller. And you could see revenue is soaring as of late, as the company has launched several new models and is sending them to the market, selling them to the market, and that is going to bring in increased revenues. Additionally, government incentives are helping reduce the cost of these battery electric trucks for buyers. Still, even with those incentives, these battery electric trucks can be more expensive to own and operate compared to traditional diesel trucks. So the government is trying to help ease the investment from businesses to purchase these trucks, but there's still a gap between the cost, and so it's not where it needs to be, although the government is working very hard, and I suspect it will continue to make it more and more difficult for businesses to buy diesel trucks from here on out as they try and encourage clean energy. Whether or not that's right or wrong, it's not for me to say. It's just what the government seems to want to push out into the economy, and Workhorse will certainly benefit from that trend. The next thing I wanted to look at is the company's operating profit margin, and it's losing a lot of money on the bottom line. Negative 1,290% operating profit margin. What this shows me is that it's still a long way away from generating profits on the bottom line. It's in its very early stages of ramping up capacity, ramping up production, ramping up sales. It needs to go a lot further before we can start discussing profitability for this company on the bottom line. And so I wanted to look at cash flow from operations. How much cash is the company going through every quarter as it works to build up scale and build up the business before it can really be on a self-sustaining level? And looking at this metric, the company negative 104 million in cash flow from operations, which is troubling to be sure. If you compare with revenue of just 10.66 million, the company went through almost 10 times as much as it brought in revenue. So the ratio is significantly against the company in terms of cash flow from operations, but that's understandable. That's understandable as it builds out, as it ramps up, as it gets going. And so the early parts of the business will not be easy, and the company is going through its growing pains right now, and hopefully for investors it will reap the benefits of all this investment, all this work later on down the road when it reaches a big enough scale to generate these cash flows on the bottom line. And so finally, I wanted to look at valuation, and relatively speaking, the stock is cheap. It's arguably the cheapest it's been, going back about a year, trading at a forward price to sales of 0.6. That's a fraction of the valuation it was trading at about a year ago. That being said, I still don't think the stock is a buy. If I had to answer what I think buy, sell, or hold, I would say it's on the borderline between a hold and a sell. It's still in the very early innings, and there's a lot of risk with this company right now, especially considering the big difference between the cost of maintaining one of these, of owning one of these, and the cost of a traditional diesel truck. And so because of that big delta, there isn't very much demand from end users to purchase these trucks. It's basically whatever demand the government can create for these trucks right now is what's going to get businesses to buy these. And so they really need to ramp up production to get the cost per unit down so they can lower the price they offer businesses to really encourage more purchases. And that remains to be seen if they will be able to do that, when or if at all. So right now, I'm not in favor of this company. I'm rooting for it. I'm hoping they get it going. It would be nice to get these cleaner energy vehicles on the road. It just seems like very difficult to get these trucks to be adopted by a lot of drivers, by a lot of businesses because of the increase in costs.
I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/Parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now.